All right, so we're back at it again, and a lot changed since the last time that I recorded something. So I guess we'll just start with filling you in on what happened since then. So last I recorded, I had yet to make a sale. I had cards posted for approximately a week or so. Think so, about 6 or 7 days at the time. And as you can see, starting on the 23rd, I got a sale. So actually, I think I'm trying to recall how it played out. I think I may have had one sale by the time I made that video, but I digress. So starting at that point, we sold one card for $20. That was going to be this Rayquaza here, which is pretty cool to start off with. Honestly, a card that I've had for a very long time. As you can see, 2005. So it's been a good minute that's been in my possession. I was able to get that one off the plate, and then the next day we sold this guy. It's gonna be a Scizor VMAX. Not nearly as long as the 2020 card. So this was around the last time that I was really invested in collecting or purchasing any of these and all that good stuff. So by this point, both of these have arrived to the customer, and we're feeling pretty good about that. Now, at this point, I have sold a total of 21 orders. Don't know off the top of my head how many individual cards that plays out to be, but we're sitting at 213, almost 214 in total sales. Obviously, that does not include removing all of the expenses and such things, which I do have in selling costs, $71, and we'll jump down to that shortly. But as it stands, we moved 21 orders, probably somewhere in the neighborhood, because I did have one guy that purchased 6 cards in one order, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 35 total cards, individual cards that have moved, including there was a set of 3 of Caius the Shadow Monarch that sold. So that's pretty cool. With that, we haven't sold a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's been something I've been pondering since the get-go. And I don't remember if I said anything about this in the previous video, but I wonder if the Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to sell better on a marketplace like TCG Player, where it's more focused on people who are they want a certain card, right? And I know that this kind of logic is going to only get so far, because I am one individual. I am not actively a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, but in the past, when I have looked for Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, the place that I went to was TCG Player and not eBay, first and foremost. And that's because, maybe for some of you who they don't know, right? But if you go to TCG Player and you want to find any one of these, right? Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Lorcana, One Piece, Digimon, and this is just, the top ones, right? They've got all kinds of other things going on. But let's just say that we wanted to come here for Yu-Gi-Oh! And we wanted to, we wanted to search up something specific. We can go to advanced search, put in a product name, description, sets, all this information, and we can find what we're looking for. But with that, I think it comes down to, what do we want to get, right? What are we actually looking for? Because if we're going, hey, like I want to get something that, is, I don't know. See, this is where I'm a little bit out of touch with Yu-Gi-Oh, because I'm not necessarily familiar with a lot of these and where they kind of pop in, but I know that for my own sake, right, I do have a good amount of stuff from Shining Victories, right? So if I was a player and I want something from Shining Victories, I mean, perfect example, right? If I wanted to come here and I wanted a copy of Angel Trumpeter, then I can go and I can search for this, and it's that simple, right? If I know that that's what I want, and this is where I actually did a lot of my kind of reviewing of pricing, is on TCG Player, and I start looking into, all right, so like I have this card, I don't know what its value is, and it's not like with Pokemon where you kind of know inherently that certain cards are going to be popular because of the Pokemon that's on it, right? Because we all know Pikachu is popular. We all know that Eevee and a lot of the Evolutions are popular. We all know that Snorlax is popular, right? Like, if you know anything about Pokemon, you know that certain Pokemon are popular. Now, there are obviously different levels to it, right? There's certain cards that are inherently going to be more valuable, right? That's fine. But knowing to begin with that a certain type of Pokemon is more popular means it's going to garner more attention, which means it's going to have a better chance of selling for better pricing, all those kind of factors involved. So I think might be able to do a slight comparison here. I can figure out where I put this. I know it's in one of these two. So I discovered that I have some cards of some pretty decent value in existence in my collection already. One of those cards, there you go, is a Snorlax. Okay? And I also have a much more regular Snorlax. And I'll show you the comparison here. So, as it stands, when I started looking into this, what I discovered is this Snorlax is selling anywhere in the ballpark of about $150 to $200. This one is, memory serves, closer to like $5. In fact, I think I have it. I do already have that other one listed. So let's go and search it up real quick. But this will give you, I think, a pretty sincere gauge of what I mean here, right? I already know Snorlax is a popular Pokemon. So when I look up a card like this Snorlax from, I believe this, what is this set? I believe this is, it's not coming to me. It's fine. We were just waiting for that to load anyway. That was basically hold music. So, Snorlax. I am currently selling just the normal one here. That one. And there you go. Fates Collide. That's the name I was looking for. So I'm selling it for $10, right? Popular card because it's Snorlax. If that was because that is a rare, if that was just a regular rare of some other Pokemon, it's not going to go for that level, right? Comparatively, Snorlax, 10 of 101, reverse holo, is that. Now, there's two different versions of this card. There's a stamped version and an unstamped version. The stamped version definitely seems to be the more attention-grabbing card. That one definitely garners a higher price. However, when I was looking into this card, it was very obvious. I mean, you can see one here, right? I mean, this says stamped, but it's actually not stamped, as you can tell. That's going for 300, right? This one that is stamped is going for 229, not stamped 125, right? So there's this variance here, but it's a valuable card, and I discovered that after the video. I've actually found that out about a few cards in my collection and was very surprised, because if you saw the last video that I made, which is very much just an introductory to this whole thing that I'm doing, you will remember maybe that the things I was talking about is I imagined I had maybe about 1,000 cards, and on average, they'd probably be worth 25 to 50 cents. So maybe I'd walk away with $250 out of that whole set of what I had, and that's including the Yu-Gi-Oh! And since then, what I found out is that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Alone that I had is over 700. The Pokemon could be very possibly in a similar amount. So with all that, it's a lot of product. So all that is to say, I've sold 2 sets of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards at this point, Kai's the Shadow Monarch and Blue Eyes Twin Burst, right? And that is, I'm wondering if that's because people are looking on eBay not as their primary source, and people who are playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Are, I don't really know of it doesn't mean they don't exist, but I don't really know of any Yu-Gi-Oh! Collectors, and so perhaps they're building decks utilizing those cards, and they found that to be just a good deal comparatively to getting them on TCG Player. I don't know how much people are going through all that. Whereas with Pokemon, it seems much more obvious. Someone is coming up to YouTube and they're maybe being as simple as Rayquaza card, Scizor VMAX, right? And they're not necessarily seeking from a specific set. Maybe they are. They very possibly are in certain circumstances, but I'm sure with a lot of the stuff that is less expensive stuff, as someone lights fireworks off in a very close proximity, but maybe somebody is going, okay, like I want Eevee card, I want a Pikachu card, I want a Raichu card, and so they just start putting that information in, and they start seeking out what's available, and then they come across a listing of a card that they like, it's at a price that they like, and so they buy it, right? Now, if that's the case, right, then I think there's also obviously the people who are going to be more particular. They know for a fact that there was a Rayquaza from this set, which was, I didn't upload this in the same way as some of them, so let's do this one. They know that there was the Scizor VMAX Secret Rare, or Full Art, from Darkness Ablaze, and they really like the way this card looks, and so they make it a point to seek out this card specifically in order to order it. Cool. I just don't think that's the same with Yu-Gi-Oh! But this is the thing that I noted, right? So about the time when I made that first video, I came to the conclusion, the anime I was watching. I came to the conclusion that the thing that I did with Pokemon is I just started listing, right? I just started putting up more product, more content, if you will, right? It's just taking sort of a thing that I learned in like the sales space, which is the more opportunity you have, the more that you're going to sell. And it comes back around to this idea of if there's only one option in a large space, the ability for someone to see that becomes very small. It's a needle in a haystack. When you put a bunch of needles in the haystack, eventually it gets to a point where the needles are noticeable. So that was what I started doing, and it seems as though that has had some influence on this. And so that's why I sort of started doing the same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! I made it a point to the last 2-3 nights that I have been doing my listings, and I've been doing listings every night. Every time that I've been doing my listings, I have made sure that I have done at minimum, close to equal to amount of Yu-Gi-Oh! As Pokemon. So last night, I believe I took 17 cards and listed them. A night before, I actually even swung completely the other direction, and I listed, I think, 3 Pokemon, and then I listed maybe 20 Yu-Gi-Oh! So at this point, there's a lot more of one. Well, actually, probably not at this point. There's a lot more of one than the other. There's, I think, still more Pokemon listed than there is Yu-Gi-Oh! But there's also more Pokemon that is sold than Yu-Gi-Oh! At this point. So I'm still trying to work that out, because it being so early on in this process, where I'm still trying to figure things out, find out what's worth something, and not even what's worth something, find out where the attention is, because all of this stuff is worth something to someone, but finding out where the attention is definitely a conversation for me. So this is where we're at. I am sitting at a little over $200 in overall sales, listing, I think at this point it's probably around 40 to 50 cards a night is what I'm aiming for, and trying to find out if Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to sell on eBay even a fraction of the amount that Pokemon is. Because what I believe very strongly is that if it's not, then I need to divert some of what I'm earning from eBay right now to help facilitate selling on TCG Player. And I know TCG Player is more involved in certain areas, but there's also some other value to it. Like, you know, if these cards are going to be here, and they're going to be at these market prices and stuff like that, and then I'll put them out there and let it do its thing, and I'll just basically utilize TCG Player as the Yu-Gi-Oh! Store, if you will, and then eBay as the Pokemon store at this point, and then eventually when we start integrating maybe more card games, we'll see how that plays out. That's more down the line type stuff. We will work out the details for that. But this is definitely the question mark that I currently have is eBay going to be a good place to sell Yu-Gi-Oh! Or not? But we'll find out. All that is to say, things are moving. And today was, I think, 3 cards that I packed. 1 sold last night, 2 sold today. And once again, I mean, I look at it like the more that I can list, the more opportunity there is for something to sell. So there's no room for discouragement on, oh, you know what, like, yesterday I had, say, 5 cards sell, and then today only 2. Oh, boo-hoo. List more. There'll be busier days and slower days, and it's still really early in this whole process. So I'll keep you updated. But as of right now, that's kind of enough of me rambling. Maybe I'll add some real structure to these videos at some point. But like I said in the first one, my goal is to just have this be a document, essentially, of this entire process and what this is like. And maybe that means that as I am going through this process, I start structuring these a little more to make them maybe a little more entertaining, because in all reality, I've just been sitting here talking and scrolling around on my computer a bit, and maybe that's not all that interesting after 2 videos. So hopefully we'll gain some momentum and be able to start working out some of the things that people might want to see, and then we'll go from there. But other than that, that's all I got. So if you do want to follow along though, and you don't mind my rambling from time to time, because I doubt that will ever fully go away, throw down a subscription, hit like if you liked it, and we'll see you in the next one. Card Pirate Captain out.